Does the equation and graph agree? We're going to find out how we can check and verify our answers.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Today we're going to go over a graphing problem. And we have a graph here, and we can see that we have a line, a red line, and we have an equation for that line. Not the one that's above, per se. Could be that one. But anyways, the line itself is going down into the negative y direction. And so if you remember rise over run, the rise in this case is not a positive, it's a negative. And the run is a positive. So what does that make? It makes a slope that is negative. So if you look at this here, we'll try to guess what's going on. Let's see, over here, this is what? This looks like this is the y-intercept, right? Or is it the x-intercept? The y or the x-intercept? What do you guys think? So if we go over here and we plug in a 0, we're going to get some value for the x-intercept, or the y-intercept, excuse me. So this is the x-intercept. That's how you know. So let's just go over that real quick. The way you know that you're getting a y-intercept is you take this equation at the top and you say to yourself, okay, if I plug in on x at 0, so when y intercepts x at 0, what do I get? Okay, and in this case, we have intercepted 0, and it's plus 3, so y equals what? Y equals 3. That's right. Okay. All right. So now the equation for a line is up here as well. It is y equals m x plus b, and b is the y-intercept. Okay, I'm going to just shorthand this real quick. There we go. Let's just spell it out. Okay, maybe my handwriting will get better. But is this equation correct? That's what the question is. Is this equation for this line correct? And I have this pen in some weird mode now. Anyways, if you go down here, you can see that the y-intercept is indeed between 2 and 4. Therefore, the y-intercept is here at 3. Now, the formula here says y equals 1 half x plus 3. Well, what we know in the form of a line, the slope-intercept form of a line, is y equals mx plus b. Okay, well, great. So what is that? M. M is the slope. M is the slope. And the slope is m equals rise over the run. So those two assume that the positive direction on that is y is positive going up, and the run is positive going to the right. Right? Put a little plus sign there. Okay. No, in this case, though, this graph is definitely going downward. It's not going upward, and it's going downward in the y direction, which is the rise, which means our rise can't be positive. It's got to be negative. Okay? So if that was the case, then this equation becomes a negative over a positive. And I can just fill in a 1 here because that's what's implied. And what are you left with? You're left with a negative 1. Okay, well that's not exactly true for this graph. We're not doing negative 1 at a time. We actually have a different value for this, but for the slope. But we know that it's not negative, right? We know that this equation up here does not have a negative slope. It has 1 half, which is positive. Okay, so if it were 1 half, how would that look? Well, 1 half positive would look the other way, and somewhere over here, the line is going to intercept here. This is the y-intercept, or excuse me, the x-intercept, where y equals 0, and then we're going to go through that point again, which to close your eyes and blink 3 times, it'll go through that point. And then, so let me just do a couple undos. If I can. I cannot. Okay. Anyways, go through this. I think I'm drawing with this thing up here. That's why. And so where are we now? We have this line going through here and it's going up. And when it touches the y equals 0, we know that if we plug in x equals 0 here, when y is 0 over here, then we're going to get the x-intercept. So 0 equals 1/2 x plus 3, right? And then if we take the 3 and we put it on the other side, we're left with 1/2 x equals -3. So you subtracted a 3 off of each side of the equation. And then we're going to have to get rid of this guy, which is a multiply of 2 times 1/2. And then this is times 2, because you're going to do the same action on both sides per one of the laws of mathematics. When we do that, the 1/2 goes away and we're left with x equals -6, which means that when y equals 0, x is -6, which is here, right? So that's our intercept. When y is 0, our x-intercept is -6. So therefore, we know that the equation's wrong, and we also know that this is the direction we want to go. And so this equation that is here is right or wrong. It's right, and we can verify that as well. If we go over to the application I have open, the Desmos, okay, up here, you type in this, press enter, you're left with that form. Let's go back up here and see if we can edit it. We cannot, so let's type it in again. Let's do the -1/2 plus 3. Yeah, that's 1/2 x. So you see this blue line now represents what you saw on the screen, which is over here, right? And so we know that that equation doesn't match this line, and therefore it is wrong. And the correction would be to either draw the line the opposite direction, like so, right here. Let's see if I can type that in. There we go. Yeah, so this would be the right line going that direction. Or you could say, well, if we're going to use this equation, that matches the problem. But we know for sure that that's not right. So you make the corrections, and you have 2 ways of doing it. And I'll write those down again. Go over here, first form. First way to verify that is slope doesn't match the line. Right? We're expecting a positive or a negative slope. And when I go to this equation over here, the slope is 1/2. What about the second one? The second one is, where is the intercepts, right? And in that equation, the intercept should be when we set the y equal to 0, where does x line up? And x doesn't line up quite that way here, right? X should be here when it intercepts in this equation. And you can prove that to yourself like I just did. But instead, it's going to the positive form, or the absolute value, if you will, or if you want to look at it from symmetry, it's on the other side of the 0 of the y value, or the x value equals 0. Okay, so there's 2 ways of doing that. One is the slope, and then 2 is look at the x-intercept, because we have that in the graph, and we can verify that. The other thing you want to look at is this value. You should verify that. I made the assumption that it was okay, but I'm showing you how I determined that. So you also want to verify the y-intercept. And we know for sure that the line is going through there right now. So that part's okay. So the reason this is bad is the line is going in the negative direction on the y-axis, which means that our rise is negative and our run is positive, we'd expect m to be negative, and it's not negative. So there you go. There you go. Thank you. Well, I know that we went through a lot, and appreciate you watching the video. Hopefully this helps you with any problems you're having. If not, please feel free to drag me into a conversation and discussion. We can talk about it there, or you can have a discussion with some other
Perfect.